You guys, we are making something special in the morning. 34 minutes past 7 o'clock, hour live in the mix, and you know that every Tuesday we have Dr. Juliet Dinkha with us in the studio with our very special segment that's called Let's Talk Psychology. Now, since yesterday was the World Autism Day, we're going to have a special cover for that on today with our specialist, Dr. Juliet. So good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, you guys.
How are
I
you,
miss
Doctor?
you.
We missed you last week. You didn't come.
I know.
We missed you. You can't leave us like that.
Well, you know, it's such a routine for me to be on Tuesday. When I'm not here, I feel like I'm missing something.
Exactly.
Right?
We also feel that there's something missing.
Well, thanks, guys. I miss you.
We miss you too, Doctor.
How are you?
Autism is something very important.
That's
and
right.
It's a very huge topic and subject.
That's right.
Worldwide, not only here.
That's very true.
So, since yesterday was the Autism Day, we're going to do like a special 1 hour about autism for today. So, where shall we start from?
So, I was thinking of just saying that autism is a developmental disorder. You know, there's a lot of childhood disorders. One of them is autism. There's Asperger. There's Rett's. There is pervasive developmental. So, but today, of course, we're concentrating on autism. And there's a limited range of autism. There's like mild and severe, and so today they are levels, and actually people are living with autistic children. They probably face some challenges. The good thing about it now is that we have a lot of services for autistic children. Long time ago here or anywhere else, especially here, like they didn't have a lot of these or clinics. And first of all, it's not taboo. That's very true. And second of all, is that people are really starting to understand what autism. They're recognizing it earlier, and that way, the earlier you recognize it, the faster it is that you can get treatment. And the good thing about it is we do have these clinics now that are like primary, like schools, and then you can, or they can bring services to your house. So in a way, I'm really excited that no more that family need to feel that they don't have support, and they don't have to feel that they are not really, that they have to deal with this issue by themselves like long time ago they felt like it. So I thought I should share some symptoms of autism in case people don't understand it. But it's one of the things that you have to realize is like they're socializing, forming relationship, communication, all of these things, imagination, all these things are in deficit. So children with autism can display a wide range, like I said, but some of the things that mainly we look at as psychologists is that difficulty with verbal communication. You see them that they don't really communicate, right? They don't have no eye contact. That's another thing. It's a big thing. They don't talk. Their inability to participate in any conversation. They don't really socialize. They have difficulty with verbal and nonverbal communication. They have they can't do like many gestures or facial expression like we think. They're usually like vacant, right? They have difficulty with making friends. Their inability to make friends and prefer to play alone. Most of the time you'll see them. It's an alone syndrome in a way, an alone disorder.
They have a world of their own, and they're very smart. They're very creative. They're very inspiring children. But at the same time, as you said, you don't see them playing with other children. You don't see them having opening conversations or like being around other children.
So and sometimes they might even mistake them for being not social. They're like isolating themselves, but because of the problem that they have, which is autism. And I really just wanted to highlight that in the beginning, as you said, but back in the days, there were like no autism centers like around the world, not only in that region. And then eventually when people started to pay attention that there is something called autism, and it's a huge thing that you should pay attention to your child. Especially now in Kuwait, yes, we got a lot of centers that start to pay
much respect for you guys.
more attention to this kind of
definitely.
Right, because people are prioritizing it, and because we've increased the numbers, right? And so the idea is that, and like I said, a lot of times people didn't really recognize it because they thought it was something else. They didn't really realize it was autism. Now, one of the other thing is that I said like they don't make friends, but they also don't have an imagination. If you ever seen like an autistic child, most of the time they're like playing the same game. Like they'll do circles a lot, like round. They pile up things, and they'll repeat it forever. Like for you and I would feel like I'm bored with it. So other kids will be bored with them doing the same thing. So at first they'll play with them, but then later on they want to continue. One of the other major thing is that they like routine, and they don't like their routine to be disrupted. And once you disrupt their routine, they become very, very very angry, and especially like if life sometimes like gets us, we have to change things, and if you don't prepare them, they really, even moving house, for example, changing their friends or school, everything. Like if anything, even in the house, anything that gets added, that is to them, it's like they become really, really agitated. They withdraw more, and they have a very difficult time being able to adjust. And you'll see them, and sometimes it depends on the severity of it. They do get really, really angry. They'll get aggressive with you, and also like the older they get, the more when they're adolescents, for example. They, they do have to go through the same developmental. They go through the same developmental process as any teenager. But it is of course harder for them.
Express themselves. Doctor, I just want to ask you, what are the ages that people or parents would start to know that maybe I should get my kid tested? Because normally when each and every kid grows up, some of them they're still experimenting, especially if they're younger at the age. So we can't just say if any kid is sitting in the corner, oh, he's autistic. No, we can't just label the kid. But what are the symptoms that will make you go and get the kids tested? From what age does it start?
Well, actually, most of the time you'll see it younger, but if it's by the time they're 12 months and they're not doing any baba or cuckoo, because most kids they start doing that thing with their lips, boo or baba. Yeah, a lot of times autistic kids don't do that. Especially parents that have other kid before this autistic, then they'll kind of recognize it.
They will know because the kid didn't talk, or the brother or the sister spoke before the child. I
mean, and you can compare it before 12 months, right? You can actually know if your child is waving. There's no gesture. There's nothing actually.
So there's no reaction.
So of course, because if you've seen I have kids. T has kids. You see them at 12 when they start to become 12 months, about a year. Even before that, they start and they have so much movement. And this child doesn't have any movement. You might want to. It might not be autism, but you might really have to realize that if you now, of course. I hate to tell parents no, they have to fit a certain criteria because each kid develops at a certain day. But if it's by 12 months and your child is not doing any of these gestures that infants do, you probably want to be able your child doesn't single words, you start them by 12 or after 1 year. So by 16 months, if your child is not saying any words, they are very, very nonverbal. So you probably want to wonder, it could be speech problem, it could be autism, but most of the time it's probably autistic, or autism in the making.
Because you see, doctor, this is very challenging because the symptoms that you're talking about sometimes every mother or every kid faces them, because for example there are some kids that speak at the age of 2 and then they speak and they we think, oh, they're not gonna talk, and then now you can make them stop talking. It depends, but that was the
but by two if they are not if they're not making sentences or 2 words like give me, and calling or they have at least 2 words they should have. But if that by 2 years you're seeing that your child is not having any language, then you probably want to be able to get them tested. And I always tell parents, and the other thing is your child has lost any language or any social skills, but by the time that at any age, if you know that they're not, because there are certain developmental stages that they have to go through. But the thing is that in my experience, a lot of times parents can feel that something is wrong with their child, but they're really worried about.
I always wanted to say, using your biological detector can always be your biggest hunch, because it can tell you whether there's something wrong is going on with the child or not.
To a certain
and thanks to new technology and science as well, you can also do pre-checks whether your son or daughter, your baby is going to be autistic or not. Do give into their DNA and genome and all of that. Now,
and actually, a lot of times in my experience, it's when someone will come in and ask me, and I was like, well, maybe it's the same thing as any other childhood disorders, because every parent, being a parent myself, I also think that, I don't want anyone to say to me, your child has this, because then it means that there's something wrong with me or something wrong with them, and they're not going to develop normally. Every parent wants their child to develop normally and to be able to be like every other kid. And when you say to them, like, I think something is wrong, maybe you should get them tested. I mean, just to rule out anything, right? It could be just a language issue. But if they're not giving you eye contact, there's no movement,
There's
you
no
know,
response
and then
to whatever you do as well.
and
right?
you, if you have, if you've ever seen a 2-year-old, they're so acquisitive. They're all over your kitchen. You gotta lock everything. Yeah, is it? And exactly, it's like, and so if you see your child not doing any of that, and they're always in a corner, and when you have cousins or friends over, they don't want to do anything. I mean, you should intervene, and you should try to figure out. I mean, it might be autism. It might be that they are depressed. It might be that when you were pregnant, there's some sort of a stress that happened to you. Because some, I mean, you know, after we come back, I'll talk about some of the causes. But the idea is that it's better. And for me, I would rather people check it out earlier, because the earlier you have it, the more we can get intervention. Yeah.
Exactly. So our topic of the day is going to be autism in relation with Autism International Day. That was yesterday, but since we have Dr. Juliet on Tuesday, that's why we're going to talk about it today. So please just keep on tuning in. And of course, we're still introducing some brand new tunes that will be featured during the end of this hour and the upcoming hour. Coming up next, we got Alone by Halsey. And also we got, that's Louisa Johnson and 2 Chainz, more to be played with BHM featuring Paper Low in a song called Bag. Enjoy these tunes, and we will be back in a few minutes.
And if they have any questions, please send it to dr.jdinkha at my Instagram, and I'll answer it.
Viva brings you the all-new Nova 2 Plus from Huawei.
I like the side of the studio.
Yeah? And the lighting of me is better than the other ones. Now they fixed the lights over there, so it should be better.
Oh yeah, that's right. Good morning.
Call 102 or visit viva.com.kw.
Hey everybody. Good morning. ايه فعلا
Artisanal quality at crazy fast speed is what we're all about. Fresh dough made from scratch.
Guys, we'll be back tomorrow.
Any toppings you want.
You want your juice? Yeah, let's go out. Have your juice outside, baby.
For fast fire perfection,
Yellow.
that's place
I stopped it.
Yes, I want to tell you something. Happy Pussy Boy told this